Greetings. My name is Letitia Hensley, and I'm the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Director of Family and Community Engagement. We are excited that you are joining us today and know you will gain great insight from this session. At the conclusion of today's session, please provide feedback so that we can continue to support you with amazing sessions that will be provided throughout the year. Now, without further ado, we'll turn it over to our presenters.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Supporting AIG and Advanced Learners and Families Transitioning to Middle and High School, brought to you by the Advanced Studies Department. Before we begin, for those of you who may need translation support, there are some icons that you may want to see. One, click the captions button in the top left corner of your screen. Two, click show live captions. That way you can read it. And then select the language from the drop-down menu below. And you will see the language that you would want it to be in. How to engage with us today. So we have a Q&A section for questions and answers. So you'll click Q&A and type your question in the box. Also in the left-hand corner, or this is the top right corner, at the top you'll see Q&A and you'll see your reaction buttons for when you like something, you have a question, or maybe there's something you don't understand. The questions will be monitored and we will have a Q&A period at the end of our session. Please feel free to share any reactions during the presentation as you see appropriate. We love those hearts and those smileys. So if you would, just for a practice, if you could give me a thumbs up for your reactions, just to kind of practice those reactions, you could just give us a thumbs up so we could see them. See one. Here we go. Someone found it. Okay, I've got a few more coming in. All right, so we've got those reactions going. And then again, if you have questions during that presentation, please feel free to click the Q&A and type your questions in, and we will answer questions at the end of the presentation. Also, we want to hear from you. At the end of this, we'd love to hear your feedback about our Family Engagement and Family Academy. So please fill out the form. The link will be put into the chat, or if it's not already been sent out to you, it will also be in the bit.ly for our presentation. So you can put your name in for a raffle to win a $100 gift card. The winner will be contacted at the end of the month on Friday, May 30th. So please, please, please give us your feedback to let us know how we did and how well we did and anything that we can make any improvements on. All right. So we're going to introduce you to our Advanced Studies team. My name is Elizabeth Jordan. I am one of the Advanced Studies specialists.
Hi, I'm Marie Deegan. I'm the AIG and TD District Lead Teacher with Advanced Studies.
Hi, my name is Mickey Ayers. I'm Secondary AIG TD Curriculum Specialist for Advanced Studies.
Good afternoon and welcome to our session today. I'm Amanda Acoff. I'm also an Advanced Studies Specialist.
Thank you. All right, during our session today, we will provide you with our continuum of services for gifted and advanced learners. A lot of times families know more about elementary, and so we're talking about their transition from middle and high school. And then we'll look at some information that you'll want to know between those levels regarding your gifted and advanced learners. By the time we finish, there'll be some strategies that you can utilize with your child at home to support them through their transitions, foster agency, some independence, and then also developing some strong educational foundations for success beyond high school. All of what we do in the Advanced Studies Department is based on our academically and intellectually gifted plan that we have to have approved by the state. And we have to provide an array of services to all of our students. So one of the things that we are looking at today is our standard 2, where we're looking at the total school community. As parents of our gifted and advanced learners, you are a part of that community. And everything that we're going to talk about is how we are working together as a community to support your students. Specifically, standard 2F, this communication between schools and teachers and looking at the continuation of K-12 services is really where we're honing in today. The state of North Carolina has designed something called a portrait of a graduate, and that portrait of a graduate includes some key descriptors for students and what they should have when they graduate from high school in the state of North Carolina. They should be adaptable. They should know how to collaborate, communication, critical thinking skills, having empathy, a learner's mindset, and be able to take personal responsibility for everything that they do.
Okay,
And we
so
have a
now,
K. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. So now we're going to take a look at our K-12 continuum of services, which starts out with elementary school. So before we can look ahead at our transitions, let's take a moment and look at where we've been. In elementary school, we've built a strong foundation for our gifted and advanced learners, one that's both inclusive and intentional. It begins with early nurturing through our Yet University pilot program and continues with universal screening in the 2nd grade to identify students with advanced learning needs. From there, we provide targeted instruction in both reading and math through a blend of co-teaching, small group instruction, and collaborative planning between AIG and classroom teachers. We consistently use research-based resources like William and Mary, Jacob's Ladder, our Project M3 units in math to challenge students and deepen their thinking. And we enrich their experience with programs like Mathapalooza in 3rd grade, Math Olympiads in 4th and 5th grade, and then our district-wide competition, the Reading Rumble. All of this is designed to nurture curiosity, critical thinking, and a love of learning, skills that will serve them as they transition to the more complex and independent environment of middle school.
And as students transition from their elementary experience into the middle school experience, the service delivery model does shift a bit, but students are still served on that continuum of K-12, and we make sure to service them in collaboration as they transition from 6th grade to 7th to 8th on into high school from elementary. AIG students are provided honors level courses in English language arts and in math at the middle school level. So the honors ELA course is supported through the companion documents where we take the resources that Marie just described at the middle school level and we implement them in the honors coursework aligned with the L education curriculum. And in science and social studies, students have the opportunities to master content through depth, complexity, and interdisciplinary units of study. We also infuse gifted models and methods throughout all content areas within the middle school grade levels. All middle school students enroll in their elective courses to enhance student interest and to also enrich their learning experience. And at the middle school level, the classroom delivery model is a push-in model where students are supported in the content through their general education teacher. And so this general service delivery model is in the classroom environment. Differentiation occurs with advanced coursework and instructional strategies. Learning experiences are interdisciplinary, conceptually advanced, and challenging and complex at the honors level. Lessons involve critical thinking, creative problem solving, and inquiry-based learning opportunities. And academic enrichment schedule is used to ensure that students have multiple opportunities to connect with the real world experiences and master the content standards through that academic enrichment time that's built into the middle school schedule. And the companion or the gifted models and methods that we use at the middle school level are on this slide here, slide 13. And we work to put supports in for teachers that they can implement and support to enhance and enrich the honors coursework throughout the year. And on slide 14, you'll see the advanced middle school curricular resources and materials that we use and infuse throughout grades 6 through 8. And additional instructional strategies that we use, curriculum compacting, especially in math, our math content, honors math compacts grades 6 and 7 and grades 7 and 8. We also use problem-based learning and project-based learning, tiered lessons, concept mapping, Paideia, Socratic seminar, acceleration, learning contracts, and inquiry-based instruction, especially in your science coursework. And now I'm going to pass it over for our high school content and transition.
Thanks, Mickey. Yes, so I'll be talking today about our high school AIG service delivery model. And one of the things that we linked into our presentation deck for you that you'll have when you receive the bit.ly is the high school planning guide. We know that wherever your scholar is in their K-12 continuum of really moving through our levels, this is a great opportunity for you to see what students are going to be able to actually select as courses moving into the 25-26 school year. And it really gives our families a chance to really plan ahead and to see what that pathway would look like, regardless of what level you're at right now. To be thinking about that and what's out there, and really thinking about how when you move into high school, that courses do become more specialized. You still have your core content. There are opportunities, though, for students to really take on some more honors and advanced placement courses that really allow them to specialize in their interest or their goals that they want even post-secondary. We also make sure that we have a differentiated education plan that is filled out and completed during the transition time so that it makes sure our counselors are really having those strategic conversations with our students around their coursework and what they're planning on taking as they move into the next year to make sure it does meet their needs and adequately is going to serve them and challenge them. We also have magnet programs such as IB that continues in high school, Cambridge. We have our early and middle colleges available, as well as dual enrollment courses, which will allow our students to continue to be challenged. Next slide. Another way that we can serve our students and give them an opportunity to really create that path for their educational experience that they want, the initiative that the state has developed, which is Credit by Demonstrated Mastery. It is part of our different ways of earning graduation credit. And this particular process is a way that students that have a strong mastery already in one of a particular courses, they can apply to go through the CDM process. And through that process, they develop basically, we call them artifacts, but it's a phase 1, phase 2 assessment to allow that student to demonstrate mastery in that course content and receive credit for that course without actually having to take the course. Next slide. So the intent of that is really to respond to our students, families, and the AIG community, offering the opportunity for them to really personalize and accelerate their learning based on that mastery of course material. The state defines mastery as a student's command of course material at a level that demonstrates a deep understanding of the content standards and application of the knowledge of that course. And so as we think about academic transitions from elementary to middle and high school, we really are always thinking about how can we continue to challenge every student, and in particular, how do we make sure that not only are we provisioning our students in a way that they have access to those courses, but that we're also supporting our schools and our teachers with making sure that those opportunities are embedded within those courses to challenge students, and that we're teaching the specific skills and knowledge needed to teach those higher level courses. So let's take a look at those. So one of the things that we did here was just some considerations as you have scholars that are transitioning to middle school, through middle school to high school, really thinking about how these are some of the questions that can really prime them to be successful. We've put them into 3 different categories for your reference: advocacy, agency, and independence. We really know that as we move up, that there are larger class sizes, that their school population in general is much larger. So really building that agency and advocacy and that independence with students to really communicate with their counselors. That's a big one, especially when you move into high school, is really making sure that seeking out that guidance from the counselor and really taking a look at that pathway all the way across until the end of their 12th grade year to make sure they feel really good about it and that you as well do. And really link the future planning, making sure that we always have those goals in mind and that we're allowing our students to really select courses and be a part of programs that help support their future planning goals. And then in addition to that is the school community. We have quite a few of our school websites that have a lot of information on them, as well as our district website. So just making sure that those are bookmarked and frequented quite a bit, just so that you can see how the activity of that school life is evolving through those web pages. And so thinking about opportunities and pathways, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and sometimes that can be a lot of information. We really do want to lean back on that planning guide. There is a middle school planning guide as well. Those planning guides offer a lot of really good information. Schools also do a really good job of offering transition sessions for students, but always ask the questions. If you need to speak to those counselors, get connected to the school. But thinking about those different types of programs that are available for your student, the courses that they might look at, especially for whatever their interests are or plans are for post-secondary, and making sure that their course selection really matches that. We also want to make sure, and one of the things that our department really does push for is providing professional learning for our teachers. So we make sure that that rigor is there for our students. And then also the idea of balancing that with extracurricular activities or other things that interest students. And then one of my teammates on here definitely leads our work with Avid to really make sure that students can get paired with that Avid real framework support, so they make sure that they are truly successful in those advanced courses by not only providing the course standards, but also giving those skills that are the social, emotional, and instructional skills to really ensure that success. One of the things that our department is really working on too this year is the state has issued new guidance for all honors level courses. That includes any course that's deemed honors, but also like in our special programming, if they're at an honors level. And so our IB, Cambridge, they're included in this as well. And really taking a look at those courses to make sure that according to this course guide and evaluation tool, that our courses in CMS meet the expectations for honors level courses. And so that's some work that we've done this year with our specialists in learning and teaching. As we continue to move into next year, we will also look at in schools, the opportunities being provided and really providing feedback across our schools to calibrate that our honors level courses are true honors courses. This is being done at the high school level. That's what the guide is written for. However, we know in CMS that we need to also incorporate our middle school level as well. So there are plans for us to bring that in to the fold as well. And then we're moving on to understanding academic, emotional, and social changes for gifted and advanced learners. I have the privilege of talking about some of the academic changes or shifts. And so really just thinking about something we mentioned earlier, you've got that increased rigor because you have courses that are moving up and more advanced levels, but also specialization, really honing in on different areas. And so really thinking about like how that is going to challenge our middle and high school students as they're introduced to that. And sometimes that's presented at they're exciting opportunities, but can also reveal some areas where there's still growth to be had, especially in our executive functioning skills like study habits, organization, because there's a lot coming at our students. And so really just thinking about how we can support and guide them so that they're able to strengthen those skills as well, to be successful in those courses. In addition to that, really thinking about that less individualized attention. Again, the numbers increase, but we want to make sure, even with that diverse range of perspectives and students, that we really give our gifted students the opportunity to think about how they can thrive in environments of seeking like additional enrichment opportunities, working with like-minded peers, fostering independence in the learning, and also with like problem-solving skills. So really just still making sure that we're giving them the opportunity for that differentiation that allows them to excel. All right.
Sorry
and
about
then-
that.
Yep.
Okay, you're on the emotional. Go ahead. Sorry.
And after those academic changes, we also have some emotional changes. So, throughout their middle school years in particular, we know that students change the most and they change every single year. So, that increased self awareness and that identity formation, gifted learners are often have a very heightened sense of who they are and they will pronounce it very much so, and they'll do a lot of things for their own personal growth and understanding. And then thinking about that, there may be some other challenges that come into play with perfectionism, questioning who they are, what their world is, what it's about, and then thinking maybe we should give them some choice, some offer them some support in who they might be. And then as they move from middle to high school, there's even more self-awareness and identity formation of who they're becoming and where they're trying to go with their future. So supporting them emotionally with that level of resilience and that self-acceptance as they move throughout this very interesting time with those emotional changes. And then also striving for excellence and embracing growth. Gifted students will also have some very deep internalized expectations and they'll really want to be successful, which sometimes can lead to putting pressure on themselves, taking risk in order to meet those high expectations that they developed. So helping them to understand how to develop a sense of resilience and building their confidence in their abilities, and um, also understanding that sometimes we have to grow to get to that perfect place that we're looking for. And then that emotional depth and self-understanding. So when we think about those emotional changes, gifted learners can be very emotional and they can take things to a higher level. Thinking about their ability to develop empathy, creativity, to work in their passion as they go through that middle to high school transition and during those teenage years. So dealing with those emotions and being able to guide those emotions are something that we as the adults in their lives can help them with. We can also help them learn how to channel their emotions into making good connections with people, developing their own personal growth and developing that sense of self and who they are so that they can handle their emotions better.
All right, now social changes. Thanks, Elizabeth. Um, Through the middle school on into the high school years, there's a lot of growth that takes place. And with social changes, building meaningful connections and community becomes really important. As students transition from elementary into middle school, they'll see that challenge of, being from fifth grade into sixth grade. And I like to give the statistic that they grow the most at this age than any other time in their life outside of infancy. So there's a lot going on, and a challenge for making those connections socially becomes gifted learners have that opportunity to form deeper and more meaningful connections with a diverse group of peers. They're moving through classrooms independently. Content areas are departmentalized, whereas in elementary they're used to that, community in one classroom, one teacher environment. So that does become a challenge as they transition into sixth grade, middle school, on into high school. And an implication for that is while gifted learners may sometimes feel different than their peers, this uniqueness opens the door for them to really find themselves, to really join groups, clubs, extracurricular activities that hone in on their passion. So by embracing their individuality, they can cultivate a strong, supportive relationship that will enhance their sense of belonging, their sense of self, contributing to fulfilling the social experience so that they really do meet their full potential. And another social change that we see in gifted students is celebrating individuality and authenticity. A challenge here becomes that adolescence offers opportunities for self-discovery, and gifted learners navigate that with their unique strengths and talents. And you have to think about that asynchronous development that they go through. An implication for a social change when they're looking at their authenticity is while there may be pressure to conform, this also allows gifted learners to embrace their individuality and develop confidence in who they are, their authentic self, right? By staying true to themselves and their abilities, they can inspire others, foster a strong sense of self-worth, and cultivate intrinsic motivation that drives them toward their personal goals and passions, and again, that long-term overall success. And another social change you may see is in leadership, creativity, and community impact. A challenge here is opportunities for clubs, leadership, and community engagement. They'll grow, they'll have more opportunities, they'll have more choices. So gifted students have the chance to channel that creativity, empathy, and desire, and really make a difference. We try to really infuse 21st century skills into that middle high school experience so that they get that chance to see how they can make a difference. A gifted implication for leadership, creativity, and community impact is with the right support and encouragement, these opportunities allow gifted learners to take on leadership roles and contribute meaningfully to their communities, nurturing their potential to inspire change and make lasting impact.
Okay, so I want to share with you a little bit about Capturing Kids' Hearts, which is a district-wide curriculum that supports the social and emotional well-being for our students, which is one of our top priorities. CKH gives our teachers practical tools to build strong, trusting relationships and create a positive, connected school or classroom culture. These aren't just lessons that are taught in isolation. They're woven into the fabric of the school day. Some of the core practices include greeting students at the door. Maybe it's a high five or, a fist bump, but just really seeing your students and welcoming them into your room, celebrating good things together, creating social contracts as a class, and encouraging peer affirmations of each other. Like I said, we start this in kindergarten and it goes all the way through 12th grade. So by building these habits early and consistently, we're not just creating a positive school climate, we're helping students develop the emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills they'll carry with them through life. And most importantly, we're making sure every student feels seen, valued, and supported every single day. And so we know that our families really want to help support their gifted and advanced learners. And so we have a resource here that we're just going to kind of skim through quickly just to kind of show you what supports we have for you to use after today's presentation for your students. So here are some tips for managing perfectionism. That tends to be one big challenge for our gifted and advanced students. So we encourage you to take a look through that. And then tips for managing anxiety, which is probably helpful for anybody, but our gifted and advanced students definitely can be faced with challenges with anxiety. So here's some ideas for you there. And then managing peer relationships. This is definitely something that's, helpful to do in person when students can actually be around their peers, but you can help kind of coach them behind the scenes to help foster their social skills. And that is the close of the information we have to share with you. And now we do have some time for some questions.
Thank you, team. Elizabeth, if you can put that slide deck back up for us, please. We are excited to dive into some of the great questions that have been shared in the Q&A. The first of which is, when will CMS announce a new process for math placement in more advanced math classes for the rising 6th grade students?
It is my understanding in a memo that went out today that they are in the process of delivering schools the information for how students will be screened and offered an opportunity for an accelerated math course going into 6th grade.
Thank you. Our next question, if a student is in AIG in elementary school, will they automatically be placed in honors level classes within middle school?
Yes, that is correct. And it's like that. So I was perusing the Q&A a little bit, so I might be able to address a couple here with this. So we'll see how it goes, right? Thank you, Molly. So if a student is labeled AIG in middle school, yes, they are automatically enrolled in honors courses at the middle school level when they transition from 5th to 6th grade. That's you will want to, know who your counselor is, know who your student's counselor is. They are responsible in partnering. Some of them do the schedule, some partner in that scheduling, but we do want to make sure that all AIG students and advanced learners are enrolled in the coursework that their academic data shows. So I think I answered a couple of questions there, but did I hit the first one that you asked?
Yes,
Okay.
you did.
Okay.
All righty. Our next one is, I think that academic extracurriculars are almost as important as what is actually being taught in the classroom, and there seems to be very little concentration on offering consistent opportunities across schools, science Olympiad, robotics, competitive math teams. Are there any expectations for AIG schools to offer these opportunities?
That is a school-based decision, with what clubs and what's offered at the school. So we don't have a district-wide requirement for AIG students. However, what is required is a DEP, which is a differentiated education plan, and that's part of our state compliance at the middle school level. So each middle school child, we have an AIG contact at each school. Each middle school child has a differentiated education plan, or what we refer to as a DEP. And on that DEP, we have 4 different quadrants, let's say, like for service delivery, what curriculum is used, strategies used, but part of that is the extracurriculars. So we make sure on our AIG differentiated education plan that we are making note of how students are supported in their giftedness through extracurricular and clubs. And I encourage the students, especially as they, work on self-advocacy and that self-awareness, to talk with their teachers that they have connections with, and see, maybe they want to lead a club. I'll put on my parent hat for a moment. And as a parent of 2 children who are in college now, like, it's been really cool to see how much leadership in clubs and involvement in those interests and student passions that we talked about earlier, how that can come out in clubs and their leadership can come out in clubs. So even if it's not offered, I encourage students to always advocate for clubs that they think are important, such as, like DECA. If their school doesn't have a DECA, perhaps they could talk with someone who could support them through that. So there's where some opportunities can come in, but we don't have a requirement district-wide.
Thank you for that great answer. With AIG being embedded into the honors classes in middle school, is there an AIG specialist at each of the schools for individualized support at the middle school level like they have in elementary school, or is it filtered through the counselors?
We do not have a designated AIG teacher like you see at the elementary level with your TD teacher. AIG is supported in the classroom environment in all content areas. We are really excited this year that we developed the Dream Academy, which is our local AIG endorsement, to help support teachers in supporting their AIG students in the coursework. And we get in there to support them with our instructional specialist. And I've been into classrooms modeling this year, and it's a lot of fun. So that's really how we support at the middle school level, is through the content lens, but making sure to infuse the gifted models and methods and the strategies that we know are good for AIG kids and good for all kids within that classroom environment. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, thank you. I've heard that the AVID programs at the high school level are in jeopardy due to funding and staffing shortages. Is this a possibility moving into next year?
Thank you for your question. So currently, all of the AVID high schools that we have this school year will be continuing, in addition to 2 new schools that serve high school students as well. And different schools are looking at different possibilities for their AVID elective courses due to staffing changes. I won't say shortages, but changes in how some schools are utilizing their content area teachers. So it just may be it may look different than it has in previous years, but AVID is still alive and well in the schools that we currently have, the high schools that we currently have.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm coming back.
Are DEPs developed with parents, or do the schools develop and share those with the parents?
That's a great question. Each middle school has an AIG contact who has the role in supporting AIG students through the DEP process. That DEP is created in partnership with the classroom teachers and the AIG contact, and shared out with parents at the beginning of the year. When you should expect to receive your child's DEP at the middle school level is after the fall head count. When we have our full head count from the state, we have our roster and we go through and again, the AIG contact at the middle school levels, grades 6 through 8, even if it's a K-8 school, we require a 6-8 contact to support that process and make sure that those DEPs are communicated to all stakeholders, most importantly, parents. So if you have not received the DEP for your child, definitely contact the counselor or your AIG contact for your school and request a copy.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What suggestions do you have for a good way to start conversations with classroom teachers about how they align their coursework with the new honors level curriculum and how AIG students are supported with differentiation?
I am going to assume that this is about ELA, middle school ELA, but I'm not 100% certain. So I can take it if it's that, or if someone else on the team wants to jump in, you can jump in.
Molly, I was having trouble finding that when I was going to just review it. It said, can you read the question over again?
Yes. Suggestions for good ways to start conversations with classroom teachers about how they align their coursework with the new honors level curriculum and how AIG students are supported with differentiation.
Okay, so I just want to unpack that a little bit. So it's an honors level course guide that goes along with the curriculum. So you might be referencing like the companion guides that Mickey mentioned for middle school. I'm not sure if that is, but I'm just going to talk as if that's part of this work. So I will address the honors level course guide itself, and then Mickey, I'll feel free to chime in on the ELA companion guides. Um, a lot of the work that we're planning to continue to do moving into next year is really supporting our teachers with the knowledge and skills to make sure that they understand the indicators that are built in that honors level course guide. And also the work that we're doing with our specialists are really making sure to create curriculum resources that will help a teacher see the difference between an honors course versus standard level course. And I think that's the first place to really think about is that, you know, PLCs are the nucleus of the school, right, in terms of that high quality instruction. And so we're making sure this year that we have the resources provisioned in a way so that it can really build the capacity for our students for our teachers to understand where those opportunities are in the curriculum and make sure that they know how to leverage those and use them. The work that we're going to do next year is also in going out and doing those walkthroughs. And I think one of the things I love the question because it's like, how do I work in partnership with those teachers to really make sure that we understand everybody's role in that and that things are being delivered that are true honors level courses. I think one thing is familiarize yourself with the guide. That's a great place to start because the guide has responsibilities for all different roles and stakeholders. And so I think that's a great place to kind of like hone in on what the state says. And then really having the conversations when you have opportunities at the school level. Hey, like I know there's this honors level guide, really asking the school, like, how are you guys, deepening your understanding of this? And then also thinking about and looking at ways that we can work in partnership to even build the support for students and their roles and responsibilities related to the guide. So those are kind of some things that I'm thinking about right now based on that question. And then I think I'll turn it over to Mickey as far as specifically thinking about the ELA companion guide that she referenced earlier for middle school.
No, that was great, Amanda, because this work is being done in partnership, starting at the high school level. So it's really a backwards design approach. And the state started at high school to look at, how are we differentiating our honors, especially when you look at the weighted GPA. And now this year, we're really prepped and ready to go into what does that look like for middle school and ensuring that middle school honors courses are also differentiated from your standard coursework so we get a full honors experience. And to begin that work, so with math, it was already compacted, right? So you already have that accelerated piece in math. And then we're getting into the other strategies that we know are good for gifted learners and advanced learners in the classroom. With ELA, the companion documents, we took the L education curriculum and aligned the gifted models and methods and curriculum to enhance, as I mentioned before, to enhance and enrich, looking at the performance task in the L education curriculum as our end goal, as our target, because that really gets students to the 21st century skills and, propels them and gets them ready for that high school advanced curriculum. So we do 6-12, do this work in tandem, and again, prepped and ready to go going into 25-26, looking at middle school. The team did a great job with high school this year in looking at all the coursework. So hope we answered your question.
Thank you. What is the best way for families to connect with the counselor that will be supporting their child? And if they are moving into sixth grade, should they reach out to their elementary or middle school counselor for their DEP?
That's a really good question. I would start with the school counselor, yes. And I'm speaking for middle school, and Amanda, Elizabeth, you can chime in with high school. At the middle school level, I would start with the counselor, and when reaching out to the counselor, say, could you connect with the AIG contact so that we could receive our child's differentiated education plan, DEP? And they should be able to forward that if you do not receive it after the fall head count. They're due in November, so you should receive it at the end of Q1 in middle school.
Wonderful. Is there an opportunity for science and social studies to ever be offered at the honors level for middle school?
Oh, you are talking to a former science teacher, and you just really stole my heart with that question because, you know, I don't have a great answer for you today, but what we do work in our department, if we don't want honors just by name, right? So if a student is an honors student enrolled in math honors coursework, ELA honors coursework, we also want them to get that experience in science and social studies. So although we may not label science and social studies as honors, and we don't get a weighted GPA in middle school, we still work really hard with our content specialist and our instructional specialist to make sure that we are implementing and infusing gifted models and methods to ensure throughout their school day that middle school students are getting exposed to best practices that support their advanced learning needs. It's a great question. Thank you.
And a question that goes right along with it, Mickey, is if you could expand a little bit upon the day-to-day flow for an AIG student in middle school. For example, is there a structure or a pod of honor students that might be together in multiple classes?
Okay. I'm jotting notes down, and if I don't hit every part, let me know, because it's an interesting question because it does become based on scheduling for that particular school. Is the school a magnet program? You have your Montessori schools, you have your language academies. So you have to look at the school's mission and vision throughout the district. And with that, the school administration will lead the scheduling, and that provides the structure for how students move throughout their day. Students in middle school, they are required to have social and emotional learning. So we spoke about that earlier. So every student will receive social and emotional support through their academic day. Every student will receive access to advanced coursework, and also every student will receive Healthy Active Child in addition to academic enrichment. Those are the standards that all middle school students will receive.
Thank you. I know we've gone over our counselors a little bit, but just one more time, because we have had a few different questions about that. What is the best way to connect with the counselor that is supporting your child in the school?
I'll start with for high school. If you will go, one of the most common ways to find out information about counselors, most of our high schools have a student services web page or even like a Google site that is linked up to the school's website. And that is a great place to just start so that you can see how they're organized. A lot of times it'll explain whether they're, by alpha or grade level, or even a combination of things depending on the size of the school. The other thing that you can always do is, contact the school and ask them. They will definitely give you the contact information for the counselor that would be assigned to your scholar. And I love that you guys are asking that question because the counselor is an absolute great resource at the high school level for thinking about not only the pathways in those 9 through 12 grades, but also thinking about what, depending on the goals after high school, might be needed to just really like help have a thought partner in that.
Thank you. Our next question is, how does this information change if a fifth grader that is currently in TD is now transitioning to an IB middle school? I recognize that all IB courses are honors courses, but is there other AIG TD supports or other differences?
A student transitioning from 5th to 6th grade will still have their AIG label, whether it's AR, AM, AIG, academically gifted in reading, academically gifted in math, or academically and intelligently gifted. And that label will follow them. So it doesn't change. The service delivery model may change a bit, but the label doesn't, and they still are serviced and are required through the DEP to receive specialized support for their giftedness. Did I answer the question?
Yes, we do
Okay.
have an additional question of a similar nature.
Yes.
Is it correct that middle school IB, by definition, do not have honors courses because they are IB?
I don't know that to be true. And again, each school, based on the principal's vision for the school and scheduling, will schedule according to their vision for that school. So I don't have a direct answer for that part.
Thank you.
And Molly, a follow-up to that could be if this person wants to ask specifically and get support from our department to email the specific school and things such as that, and we can connect the dots.
Absolutely. Families, I am posting our email address in the Q&A if there are follow-up questions that you would like to be brought to our presenters' attention. Our next question is going to be, are honors classes separate from regular classes, or are all the kids in the same class?
Yeah, I know I sound like a broken record. Amanda, if you have something else to add, please add. But really, I mean, it does boil down to the scheduling of the school. Like, some schools, they have more honors classes scheduled than maybe another school that has a different magnet or a different mission and vision for academics. So it boils down to scheduling. Um, it's not a guarantee that all honors classes or all honors AIG students are going to be together. Also at the middle school level, we work really hard to make sure that we have that whole school model, and students have an opportunity again to meet different people through elective courses, through Healthy Active Child, through a lunch schedule that offers them an opportunity to intermingle with all students at the school.
Thank you for that comprehensive response. Our final question for today is going to be, where is the honors guide located for families?
We linked it into this presentation. That's one place to find it. The other place that you can find it is you can do a Google search and do the honors level course guide, and it should come up. Another place that we will have it, we haven't updated it yet, but it will also be on our advanced studies CMS website. We're going to add another category there so that you can find information about honors level courses and the work that we're doing there as well. But the first place definitely is going to be in here. Find it through the state website. It's located in their honors section, and then we'll put it on the CMS Advanced Studies website as well.
Thank you. A very special thank you to our 4 amazing presenters today. Families, thank you for joining us for our final Lunch and Learn of the year. We are excited to finish a great year of Family Academy together. If we would love your feedback, so please take a moment to complete the bit.ly that has been shared in the Q&A. Every response will be entered into a raffle for a $100 gift card, and the winner will be announced on Friday, May 30th. Once again, thank you so much to Amanda, Mickey, Elizabeth, and Marie for sharing such valuable and vital information supporting AIG and advanced learners and families transitioning to middle and high school. If you have any remaining questions, please reach out to Family Engagement at cms.k12.nc.us, and we are happy to make sure that your questions get into the hands of the correct department to meet your needs. Once again, thank you so much. We hope that you've had a wonderful day and a wonderful ending to your school year.